I'm going to tell you a secret about how your money is being used against you to promote ideas that are so foreign to you and so out of line with what you truly believe that it should be illegal, but it's not. It's actually exactly how our system is built to work. But the best part of this is you can actually do something about it. And this has everything to do with your 401k, your pension plans, and the S&P 500. Let me break this down for you. When you buy stock in a company, you have ownership in that company. That's one of the goals of any security, is actually having a claim to the ownership of that company and hoping that its value goes up. What that ownership normally entails to some extent is voting rights. Now, if you're a majority shareholder of a company, you obviously get more voting rights, and there are caps and limits and floors and ceilings on what those voting rights mean when you have a certain number of shares. But here's the real key. When you buy a stock, let's say it is the S&P 500, let's say it's Ford stock, and you buy that stock through a company, whether that's your pension plan buying stocks on your behalf or you're investing through Vanguard and Vanguard buys Ford stock or the S&P 500 on your behalf, you are actually giving your control of the ownership of that company over to that institution. So when you have a 401k plan or a pension plan or retirement plan where you're able to invest in the market, or the government, let's say the state of California, invests in the market on your behalf to get you a return so that you can retire, because the state of California is investing on your behalf, they technically own your voting rights. So what does that mean? That means if you take the entire state of California and they acquire a large amount of stock in, say, Ford, you do not get to vote on, say, who the board members of Ford are going to be. The state of California does. When you buy an index and you buy it through Vanguard or BlackRock, you are giving them the ownership rights of the stock that they're using your money to buy. What that means is BlackRock, Vanguard, Fidelity become the largest stakeholders in the majority of the companies in the United States with your money, but get all the voting rights that should be endowed to you, the user, but are kept to the institution themselves. What does this mean? This means from DEI to ESG to any left-leaning ideological takeover of any financial institution or company in the NASDAQ or the S&P or the Dow are all because these large companies like BlackRock, Fidelity, Vanguard, or these government institutions like the pension plans out in California are using your money to vote on your behalf on who those board members of these companies are going to be. They're able to sway the direction of these entire companies through power plays because BlackRock might own 30% of the shares of a certain company on the S&P 500. That goes for Vanguard, that goes for Fidelity. What that means is, let's say collectively BlackRock, Fidelity, and Vanguard, who all have the exact same agenda, might own over a total of 70% of any one S&P 500 company. That is huge because that means they have so much voting power, they can literally determine the direction that company is going to take. And if that company, of course, starts sinking because of the direction that they're taking it in, they can simply divest and put their stocks and bonds elsewhere. And that is the exact same for pension funds in New York City and in California, which California state has of the top 5 pension funds in the United States, has 2 of them. One for their state employees and the second for just the teachers unions. One of the largest is the pension fund for federal workers. Now, who are the people who lead these pension funds? They are normally very progressive actors, which means with your money, you are funding the demise of American companies through socialist and left-leaning programs that are being chosen and picked up by the people you're giving your money to, sometimes mandated to give your money to if you're signed up for a 401k or a pension plan through your employer. You don't have a choice. But you can take some of that control back. There are alternatives out there. There are companies who are trying to stop some of this push towards socialist ideologies in corporate America. Vivek Ramaswamy's group is being encouraged and trying to push ideas where if they launch their own financial products, you can invest in them. They'll be the exact same as that you would get in a BlackRock or a Vanguard, but they won't have these socialist values of a BlackRock when they're putting on board members. As far as the pension plans for the state governments, that you might have less control over, but you can always do different things with your money, like taking it out or rolling it over into other assets. This is something that most Americans have no idea about, but now you do. So choose your money and where you place it wisely and responsibly, because you and your money could be funding not only the downfall of American companies, but American life and culture as we know it.